What is going on, friends? Welcome to the Main Gains podcast show. We're open to name suggestions because I'm not in love with that.
Workshop.
With me, well, first of all, I'm Jenny. I am going to be your host. I am also the owner of Main Gains. And with me today is going to be my most likely co-host and lovely wife, Zoe.
Heck yeah.
We figured we would just give you guys some insight into Zoe's background. And surprise, this is an interview. And we're going to interview Zoe a little bit and just give you a rundown of what this show is going to be.
Cool.
All right, Zoe. So tell us, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Gray, Maine.
Cool. So you are a Mainer, a local.
Mainer, through and through.
And where do you live and work now?
Well, I live in North Yarmouth, but I work in Yarmouth.
Where specifically in Yarmouth?
Yarmouth High School. Go Clippers.
Zoe is the athletic trainer for Yarmouth High School, and you've been there for almost a year now?
Yeah, starting in January, it'll be a year.
How do you like it so far?
Love it.
So tell us how you came to be an athletic trainer, and let's start with high school.
So I knew what an athletic trainer was when I was in high school because we were lucky enough to have one. But I didn't know that I wanted to do athletic training.
Zoe's sick, by the way, so we might have some cough breaks.
Yeah. But I didn't know that I wanted to do athletic training, but I originally wanted to be a physical therapist, and I knew I wanted to go to the University of New England, but in order to get into a PT school at the University of New England, it's a post-college degree, so you have to do an undergrad, and then go on to, like, grad school for PT. So my mom was like, okay, we either have to choose, like, applied exercise science or AT. And I was like, okay, well, I know what an athletic trainer is, so let's do that.
Was there any incident that happened in senior year that I gave it away, in your high school career that kind of led you to becoming an athletic trainer?
There's a lot that I think kind of pushed me to be an athletic trainer as opposed to, like, applied exercise science. But what Jenny is alluding to is that I tore my ACL my senior year, so that was a pretty intense incident.
Doing what?
Playing basketball.
How did you tear it?
It was like 30 seconds into this game, and like this game that we were playing, like there were a lot of fans there, and I just remember the team we were playing was all very, very tall, and there were so many fans there because my teammate was scoring her 1,000th point, and literally, like, not even 30 seconds into the game, probably like 10 seconds into the game, I took this awful shot as a post player, because, like, you just try to draw fouls when you're not good at shooting, so that's what I did. Didn't get a foul or anything. Got my own rebound, was like, well, this is not a good option, so I went to go pivot to pass it to one of my teammates. She took the three-pointer, I felt a pop in my knee, and then I tried to take a couple steps, because she switched it, and we had to get back on defense, and I was like, my knee feels like it's gonna pop out of my skin, and I just sat down. And
you just sat down?
Yeah, I couldn't walk or run. I was like, something's wrong. So I just sat down on, like, the opponent's half of the court, and everybody is, like, obviously looking at where the play is, and nobody notices that I'm there. And, like, there's so many people there, and nobody's noticing me, so then I start crying because, like, I
didn't know you just sat down.
I had all this pain, and I wasn't in pain at all, but I was just like, oh my god, nobody knows what's happening, and nobody's paying attention to me. And then it took the JV coach to, like, slap my coach and be like, yo, Zoe's on the ground. And then they looked over, and they were like, oh my gosh. And then the athletic trainer came out and got me, whatever, but there were so many people there. My parents had literally just walked in. Like, they didn't even see, like, the beginning of the game. They just saw me getting escorted off the court. Yeah. Yeah, that was a wild night.
So non-contact injury.
Yeah, non-contact. I was very lucky. I just tore my ACL, no other involvement, and I had no pain whatsoever. It actually kind of felt like when you like crack your knuckles and you're like, oh, like it kind of felt like you needed to do that. Like it felt good. It didn't feel good, but like it was like not bad. And then it was just like you go to take a step and you were like, oh my God, something's wrong. But I think what really led me to be like go more the athletic training route, back to your original question, homegirl.
Yeah, get back on track.
Was I actually had 2 athletic trainers when I was in high school. And my first athletic trainer, like, she was really great. Everybody loved her, like, whatever. And she could just, like, evaluate you and, like, look at you and give you rehab exercises and tell you this is what's hurting, or, like, this is the ligament you sprained or whatever. And, like, this is how we're going to make it better. And everybody really loved her. But she ended up having a baby, so she left. Rude.
Dang babies.
I know. And then
they ruin everything.
And then we got another athletic trainer. And it just kind of felt like a little shift in momentum, as opposed to like, yeah, we're going to do rehab and like try to get you better and get you out there. Here, like, it was more like, go to PT or go do this or go elsewhere and get a second opinion. And like now being like in the field, like, for a few years, like I'm still a young professional and like whatever, like I can definitely just tell that it was experience coming into play. But I was definitely like, I want to be like my first athletic trainer, not my second athletic trainer. But actually I was like, I want to be a PT and I can just use my ATC license on the side and get a little side money.
Extra money.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess we can get into why I chose AT only in a little bit, but...
Fast forward, you are in college.
Heck yeah, I'm in college.
It's sophomore year, and for those of you, I mean, probably none of you know, at UNE, when you are an athletic training major, your first year is just a bunch of, like, prereqs and stuff like that. And then at the beginning of sophomore year, you shadow the college's athletic trainers, and then you have to interview to continue on in the program.
Well, that's how it used to be when we were in school. Now it's a master's degree, so I don't know what it's like now.
Well, that's what it was when we were in school. And Zoe here, on the day of her interview, was like, I'm gonna shave my legs.
Well, you gotta look good, feel good, play good, so I was like, I need to shower.
And we're in our suite, and I'm in my bedroom, or our bedroom, and then she's in the shower, and I can hear her yell, like, Jenny, I cut myself shaving. And I'm like, okay, I don't really know what you want me to do about that. Just finish shaving and, like, come out. And then she comes out.
So I do. I finish up my shower.
She did not just, like, nick herself shaving her legs. She straight up peeled, like, a 5-inch piece of skin off of her leg because she was already running late. She was rushing. And I look out, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, that's not, what just happened? So we're grabbing towels, trying to put it on her, and then, like, she's still got to get dressed to go to her interview. So you can hear in our dorm, you can hear when someone's, like, walking down the hall. She finally gets dressed, she puts on heels, and just runs down the hall, and you can just hear her.
After this whole incident, I was like, oh, good, like, I still have a few minutes till my interview.
Oh, right.
And then Jenny was like, Zoe, your interview started 1 minute ago. And I was like, oh no! So our dorm was right across, like, the little driveway from where the interview was happening, so I take off sprinting. And I get to my interview, and I'm, like, huffing and puffing, and you don't know any of, like, the professors, really, because, like, you kind of just take prereq courses, and, like, yeah, these guys are, like, your, like, advisors, and, like, you meet them once or twice, but they don't know you as people yet. But they're kind of, you have to do this interview to kind of vet out, like, okay, like, what students can actually kind of handle, like, the clinical requirement and kind of have, like, the mindset of, like, being an athletic trainer, and also, like, who has the grades, too.
It's an intense program.
And I, like, run in, and I'm huffing and puffing, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I gotta be honest with you. I just cut my, like, really bad shaving. Like, it is all bandaged up and, like, whatever. And I thought my interview was in 15 minutes, and it's right now, and I am just so sorry. But then they, like, asked me all these questions and, like, whatever, and I got in, and the rest is history. And I became the president of the athletic training club my senior year. So that came out in the wash. But, yeah, that was quite an experience.
So, what did make you decide to stick with just athletic training? Because you said earlier you might go to PT. So, what was that?
There were a couple of reasons why I stuck with athletic training. One, you have to get kind of shadow hours for PT school. So whether that's like shadowing at an outpatient physical therapy center, an inpatient, or like whatever, like you kind of just have to go shadow PTs. So I shadowed a PT in my hometown, and I was like, oh, this is a lot of like older people kind of like doing like maintenance quality of life stuff. And I was like, I want to work with like athletes and people who are eager to like get better and compete and like do stuff. So like that was kind of like the first like red flag of like, you don't want to be a PT right now. And then the second like major, okay, well maybe there are three things that really didn't make me want to be PT. Like the second biggest thing I think that really influenced me was when I was on my first clinical rotation site. My preceptor at the time, like that's when you go to your clinical site and like it's the certified athletic trainer that you're learning from on site. I was with two other people and they weren't there that day, but I was sitting with her watching, I think like unified basketball or something, and like we'd been there for probably a month, maybe a month and a half, like so she kind of knew us pretty well. And she goes, she sits me down and she goes, Zoe, you would be doing this profession a disservice if you didn't stay with it, because I can see that you're going to be a really good athletic trainer.
What a great compliment.
And I was like, I'm a sophomore in college, I don't even know what I'm doing. And like it just like resonated with me. So like I went back and like I thought about it, and like it's like, oh, like I'll still take like the prereq classes to go to PT school in case I want to do that and whatnot. But then I got to physics 2. And you have to take Chem 1 and Chem 2 and Physics 1 and Physics 2 to get into PT school. But if you want to be an athletic trainer, you just gotta take Physics 1 and Chem 1. But I took Chem 2 and Physics 2. I barely passed those classes, and I was like, or I barely passed Physics 1, and I was like, I'm not taking Physics 2, so I'm not gonna be a PT.
I also barely passed physics, and I barely passed chem. Yep. I didn't pass chem.
What, twice?
For those of you who know, D's get degrees when you get to college.
D's get degrees, Jenny.
D's also get degrees in some of your classes, but make sure you know which ones.
Yeah, granted, our chem teacher, like, you would raise your hand to ask a question. He would look at you and then ignore you for, like, literally the whole class.
No help.
Not at all.
So, anywho, you graduate.
Yep.
You took your BOC.
Yeah.
Which you were sick for.
I was really sick for my BOC. So the test you have to take to get certified is like totally on the computer. There's like no like practical portion or anything. Like it's all just like questions, and like it's like 150. Like it's a big test, and the questions that they ask you on it, like some of them are like really outdated, and some of them are just so far fetched. You're just like, okay, well, practically, this is what I would do, but, like, by the book, like, this is what you have to answer. But, we had, I don't even know what we were doing, but I was going down in, like...
We had a game the next day or something.
Yeah, so my test I took at the Manchester airport, so random, and my mom and I drove down the night before to, like, get a hotel room, because I think my test was, like, early in the morning, and I was like, I would rather go down early, sleep, and then get up and, like, be prepared. But, like, on the way down, I just, like, started feeling so sick. Like, my head was so congested. Like, it was just gradually getting worse. Like, my throat was really sore. And this, like, pre-COVID. So, like, man, it's okay to do whatever you want when you're sick. But then we got to the hotel, and I was like, Mom, like, can we go to Hannaford or something and get tea? Because my throat hurt so bad. So we did, and then we came back to the hotel room, and I was, like, laying on the couch just looking miserable. And my mom tried to be really nice and put a blanket over me. But, like, even the blanket, like, hurt my skin. I was like, I can't, like, whatever. And then, like, I slept all night, took my test. I was in my test on the computer, like, answering these questions. I just started crying during my test because I was like, I don't understand what it's saying to me. I can't comprehend anything. And then I drove home, played a rugby game, got player of the match, and that's it.
Stupid.
And it turns out I had a double ear infection and just a really bad cold.
Yeah. So Zoe became an athletic trainer. And then where did you work right out of graduation?
So I accepted a job like literally 2 days before graduation and started at North Yarmouth Academy like the next day.
Which is not in North Yarmouth. It is in Yarmouth.
It's a private school in Yarmouth.
we had moved back in with Zoe's parents right after graduation, and they were currently living in North Yarmouth at the time, in the same place that we're still living in. So it was very convenient for us.
Yeah, and it was a really good spot to start. Like, it was a good school, and the kids were great, and I had a lot of fun my first year.
And you couldn't hold down a job for the next, 2 years because you kept bouncing around.
You make it sound so bad. I kept getting sought out for better opportunities.
Zoe got offered 3 different jobs in the past 3 years, and she's accepted them all because they've been better opportunities than where she was currently at, until we have stumbled upon and stayed with the Yarmouth high school community.
Yeah, and that was a leap of faith, and here we are.
Cool. What is your favorite part about being an athletic trainer?
The gossip from the teens.
Spill the tea. We always want to know.
I would actually say the best part is just the connections you make with the athletes and the parents and the community and stuff, and it's really fun to see kids that you work with and make better, succeed in what they love to do.
It's the gossip. What is your least favorite part about being an athletic trainer?
My knee hurts. My back hurts. Can you fix me? Yeah, if you put the work in, people.
Zoe's a hardo. She'll make you work for it, but it's good. It's what you guys need.
Yeah, my philosophy as an athletic trainer is if you're not going to put in effort, then why should I try to make you better? Because at the end of the day, if I'm not treating the underlying causes that are causing you pain and whatever, how are you ever going to get better? And ultimately, half my kids, maybe more than half my kids, think it's stupid to wear a brace, or that it's ugly, it's not drip or whatever. So why don't we rehab and make it better so you don't have to wear an ugly brace or something?
True. Let's see here. What is, let's say, 3 pieces of advice that you would give an athlete? Not even that they're coming to you, but to try to avoid injury. Because we know you can't eliminate the possibility of injury, right? We can just decrease the risk as much as possible. So what are 3 things that you advise athletes do to decrease that risk?
There are a lot of different ways you could probably answer this question, but I would say number 1, make sure you're eating enough, drinking enough, and sleeping enough, because these all play really big roles in your body and stuff. Number 2, I'm not really a fan of sports specialization, because you're just constantly using the same muscles over and over and over again. At the same time, I know sports specialization happens, but I think a really big thing that you can do to kind of mitigate injury and stuff is get into the weight room and kind of utilize all of your muscle groups, and go see our wonderful strength and conditioning coach, Jenny LaFerrier.
I'm going to pause you there because I want to add to that. Not even just the weight room part, but the sport specialization. Because I don't think it's bad if an athlete decides to just play one sport. If soccer's your thing, great. Stick with soccer. You don't need to play, but play other sports. It doesn't have to be organized, but pick up basketball, play wiffle ball, or just anything. Just move your body in different ways, just because, like you just said, the repeated bouts and constant variation of the same sport just tends to lead to overuse injuries.
Yeah, no, totally.
And get into the weight room with me.
Yeah. And number 3, make sure you warm up really well for activity, but also cooling down after activity is really, really important.
How does one cool down after activity? You
can do the same things you do kind of to warm up, kind of think your dynamic warm up, but to bring you back down to your resting heart rate level. Foam rolling, soft tissue work,
gentle stretching.
You can even ice bath after activity.
I was really surprised you said that, because kids are going to ask you to ice bath.
Yeah, there are rules, and you can come see me about them. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, things like that.
Cool. What are you looking for? What are you looking forward to for the rest of the school year?
State championships, baby!
Woo!
No, just kidding. Even though I do want us to win a few more.
I think we will.
Things I'm looking forward to for the rest of the year are continuing to grow my connections with the kiddos and stuff, but also just like keep working to make them better, make myself better as an athletic trainer, but also just see like the successes of our athletes.
Good one. We're kind of winging this here, but I just remembered a question that I wanted to ask you.
Oh, God.
It's not bad. What is, like, the number one injury or thing that athletes come and see you for?
Shin splints.
And how do you prevent those?
Working out with Jenny.
No. Getting good shoes, good cleats.
Yeah.
Not getting cleats or shoes right before your season starts and then breaking them in.
Well, make sure you break them in before the season. Soft tissue work. A lot of soft tissue work. Gradually increasing distance and stuff like that. So if you're a cross-country runner and you haven't run all summer and then you go out and do 10 miles a day
in brand new shoes,
you're going to have some shin splints. Icing activity can be really good. There's a lot of rehab stuff we can do to make it better, but ultimately we don't want you to have them in the first place. So it's about breaking in your shoes, soft tissue work, rolling out the bottoms of your feet, proper nutrition, hydration.
Would you agree that the majority of injuries or I wouldn't even necessarily call them injuries, but like things that athletes come and see you for, like being sore or their muscles feeling a certain type of way, do you think a lot of those could be mitigated and decreased by athletes gradually increasing their workload going into the season?
I think so. I think it's all about like managing your workload and stuff, but also kind of like knowing your body and what's pain, what's soreness, and like what's an injury.
Because I think, and I'm a firm believer, that athletes, they don't know how to gradually increase the like load and the intensity of which they're playing. So like they might be playing summer soccer, but that's 2 days a week, and it's just like, what are you doing with the other 5 days a week?
And then preseason hits and they're going 2 a days,
2 a days
and trying to impress the coach and
yeah,
all
so
this
you're
stuff.
going hard, so your body is just gonna be like, whoa man, what are you doing?
But it's all about being smart up front so you can have a longer successful season than pushing through nagging injuries and stuff like that and like making it so you're not playing well or you have to sit like in the middle of the season for half the games and then coming back at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
God, you got it.
We're on the same wavelength.
Oh my goodness.
Speaking of same wavelength, we're gonna kind of wrap the Potter up here. But a question that did come in when I said it that we were gonna start this podcast was our story. So I could figure, don't roll your eyes. I figured we could end this episode with a little bit about us and give some insight into our relationship.
We're married.
We're married, for those of you who don't know. Boom! We're wearing our rubber rings because we don't want to ruin our nice ones. Especially since Zoe has to touch all of your feet. It's gross.
All the dirty dogs.
When did we meet?
Freshman year of college, second semester.
And did you know I was the one right away?
Oh, no.
Zoe did not like me.
Jenny has a very loud personality type, and when she came to UNE, she's like, I'm going to be on the basketball team. I'm going to be on the softball team. I could do that. I could do this. I could have. I'm going to weightlift. So she was like, I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to be the best at it. I was like, oh my god. But we were all friends with the same people on my floor, so we just hung out a lot more.
And then we started playing rugby together.
Yeah, a group of us were like, rugby sounds kind of cool, but we'll try out if you try out, because we don't want to go alone.
And we actually were the only two from our original friend group that stuck with rugby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say 3 Catherine came with us.
Yeah, but like, I feel like Catherine and I weren't very good. Catherine, love you, girl, but we weren't really good friends at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I barely knew her. I barely knew you.
I knew her from orientation.
Yeah. So we started playing rugby, and that was freshman year. Still, we're just, like, friends. And then sophomore year comes around.
We're suite mates with 2 other people.
One of our roommates moved out, and then I moved into the double that Zoe was in. Eventually, we both kind of felt feelings toward each other, and we were just like, hey, do you want to give this a try? And we were like, sure. And so then we were secretly dating. I don't know if we were very good at hiding it for
we sat each of our teammates down one by one in between us on the bleachers.
and we told
broke the news to them.
Well, we didn't know how to handle it, and it's like, how do you date your teammate? Don't. We were pretty lucky because
Subversive staple.
Yeah, Zoe and I played different positions, so we actually didn't really have to interact with each other a lot during practice, and really even during games and stuff. We were just on different sides of the pitch. But don't date your teammates if you can avoid it. Please do. And then we have been together ever since. And then after graduating college, I proposed to her.
In my khakis.
We were getting ice cream.
After a game day, and I was in my khakis.
It does not matter. We got ice cream. I proposed. She said yes. And then 2 years later, we got married. And now we're here, both working at the same school.
With a great dog named Bruno.
He's napping behind the camera.
Yeah, he's so cute.
That is our story in a nutshell. That is a little bit of Zoe's story, briefly wrapped up into one little
I'm sure
podcast.
More will come out eventually.
More will come out.
I've learned a lot in my small career.
We've done a lot, and we want to share that with you guys. So, episode number 1 in the books. If you hear kind of like this weird humming, we're trying to figure it out. Like, Zoe's
My mic is all jacked up.
Yeah, Zoe's mic has been funky. We're trying to figure out how to record. This is going to be a learning curve, people, but we appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, give us ideas on what you want to hear. We're going to kind of keep it strength conditioning, athletic training.
If you want to be on the podcast, let me know, because I'm going to have you on the pod. We're going to have athletes on the podcast. We're going to have coaches, strength coaches, parents,
administrators.
Ooh, little athletic director.
Maybe.
Ooh, you think Sarah would do that?
Maybe.
I bet she would. So yeah, this is a podcast for you guys, and we'll record whatever we want, but we really want to record what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's it. So thanks for listening. Whatever device or location that you are either listening or watching this on, please make sure to either like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Especially if you're listening to this on like a podcast streaming service, make sure you subscribe, give us that 5-star rating and review.
Heck yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
These are your brain gains, brought to you by your main gains.